to get started. And there's Coach Oliver. Good afternoon to you, Coach. How are you today?
I'm well, Kyle. How are you doing?
Doing great. We'll go ahead and get things underway. The Eagles coming off of a 59-14 win over Virginia Lynchburg. Coach, if you could get us started. You talked about after the game about how you needed to clean some things up, but it was a good opportunity to get everybody some playing time. I think just about everybody that you said dressed played. So first, what did you see on the film that you either liked or you need to improve? And then how important is that for team morale to get everybody some playing time in a game like that?
Well, I think before we even watched the film on Sunday, the biggest thing I had a problem with was guys coming out in pregame and in first quarter with the shirts out. And we talk about this the way we're going to do things and the way we're going to dress, and everybody's going to be uniform. And we come out and guys are dressed in all sorts of stuff. And we hadn't done that the last 3 weeks, so we were out of character. And we played like that. We looked sloppy and played sloppy. So, but as far as, we got those things cleaned up, and I thought we regained our focus and played much better the second half. Watching the film, still need to clean up some technique and fundamentals. But I thought the guys played with some great effort. We had to clean up our run defense. I thought we gave up a little too much and had some poor run fits early on. And as far as the morale, the guys are in a good place. It's good to be 4-0. And, when you have opportunity to let these young guys get out there and play, we played a whole lot of guys. I think just about everybody played. So guys were really bouncing around and feeling good about themselves yesterday.
Were there any individual efforts that you wanted to point out that you saw and that you liked?
We had two, Teron Williams, our left tackle, true freshman, had an opportunity to get his first collegiate start. And Noah did also. And at left guard, we had a couple of guys that were down. So it was good for those guys to be able to get in there and play well. I was really excited. And then you look out there at one point in time, we had all true freshmen at the offensive line. And I thought that our quarterback play was outstanding after we started in the second half. And our running game, our running backs, we have a stable of those guys. Christian Mosley is one that really, really stood out. I thought he played well, and he is fast. He is very fast. But special team wise, I thought Marseille Miller played outstanding. And those guys on special teams don't get nearly as much credit as they should. But we had some guys that stood up, and I was pleased.
Great. We'll open it up for questions. Again, reminder to use the raise hand feature, and we'll call on you. And the first question's from Shami Cook from WNCU. Go ahead.
Good day, Coach Oliver. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing today? I think you got muted.
Am I better? Is that better?
You good? Got you.
All right, there we go. All right, I'm sorry about that. So, one player got ejected in the first half on Saturday. Jakai Briefer, am I pronouncing that name?
Brevard,
Brevard, excuse me. How did that change that? He was a big part of that defense. He had 10 tackles and a sack before he got ejected. How did that? He's a true sophomore, I believe, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. How did that change your defense? How did that change, the lineup in the locker room?
Well, it changed quite a bit because he was bringing unbelievable energy. And for you to get 10 tackles in one half of football, you getting after it. But I thought the other guys came in and stepped up, and we have a next man up mentality. So we try to prepare the twos and threes just in case their number is called. I thought it was a really good play on the field, but after watching it on film, he was a little high with it. He didn't lead with the crown of his helmet, but he made contact up and right to the head and neck injury of the quarterback. So I was disappointed that we lost him for the rest of the game, but I thought he was playing lights out.
You were it was a run heavy offense this week. Do you plan to bring that into Campbell this week?
Definitely. Every week we're going to run the football. We're going to run the football, and we need to establish the run first and foremost, and then that'll open up some things down the field for our skill guys, our receivers on the outside. But every week our goal is to be able to run the football.
Last question. Campbell, what are you looking for? Last week you told me that Virginia Lynchburg had two great DNs that you were looking at. What are you looking for in Campbell this week?
This is one of the biggest football teams I've seen. They have an NFL-sized offensive line. I believe their one is 6'8", 345, and the other tackle is 6'7", 355. These are some big human beings that we're about to play. They're big across the field on both sides of the ball. They have big physical running backs. They are a very physical football team. But we have to come to play, and we have to improve this week to get a little bit better. And this is going to be a good football game.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, up next is Chris Clark. Go ahead, Chris.
Kind of got my question in there, Coach. They got two guys, Barr and Rogers, that can each one of them carry the load. If it's not Barr, it's Rogers. If it's not Rogers, it's Barr. What do you do to stop somebody like that? I've heard coaches say, try not to let that train get going north and south, keep it going east and west. What are you looking at doing to try and keep them from chewing up yards on the ground?
Well, we talk every week. We have to stop the run. And we saw a heck of a rushing attack against New Hampshire 2 weeks ago. With that back that they had. And, we have to really be locked in and focus on our keys and be sound in our run fits. That's going to be the big thing. Everybody has to be disciplined and don't try to do too much. And this is going to be one of those games. We know that where they're going to run the ball. They know where they're going to run the ball. It's all about, can you stop it? So we're going to have to strain this week up front. And it's going to be a knockdown, drag out type game.
And if I could piggyback off of that, the other guy back there, Malik Williams, who sometimes does lead them in rushing. He's also got a cannon for an arm, a triple threat quarterback. Is it easier to deal with something like that because of the guy that you have back there as well, to kind of game plan for that kind of a guy?
No, nothing about this kid is going to be easy defending him. Not at all. And he and Pee Wee have two completely different styles. Pee Wee runs, and gets downhill more so. He's not really elusive side to side. This guy right here is quick. He has great acceleration. He has great long speed. He's like Michael Vick back there, and he does a great job with looking downfield and keeping plays alive and finding receivers. But he had a couple plays against Citadel and then one or two against ECU that it was just like, how are we going to stop this guy? But we'll have to put a spy on him, and we'll have to really work on our pass rush lanes and our defensive ends working on containing.
The last question, I was going to roll back to your group of running backs there. How tough is it to keep a group like that happy? I mean, they only got one football, and you only got so many plays, but you keep seeming to keep them hungry, if you will, and not let anybody get disappointed. How do you keep that rotation fresh like you've been doing? Because you've been doing a great job with it.
Yeah, we have really good guys on our team, and they're good teammates, and they're not carrying the ball. They're rooting for each other. And Coach Maurice, our running back coach, I think does a good job with letting these guys know where they stand and what their role is. So we talk about it. You might not be a 40, 50 play guy for, each game, but understand what your role is, embrace your role, and be a good teammate. And you look at a guy like Walker Harris. Walker Harris could go to just about any other school in our conference, our backup quarterback, and start. And he's never complained about playing time, and he's always been very supportive of Pee Wee, and they push each other. And, when you saw him go in the game Saturday, he played well. And he's one of many that we have that are backups that I believe can really play.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Lawrence Davis. Go ahead, Lawrence.
What's up, Coach? How are you doing today?
I'm well, Lawrence. How are you doing?
I'm good. Over the last few weeks, I've seen your team grow, so I know you've definitely seen the team grow a lot. What are some main lessons that you think your team has learned over the past couple of weeks that will really help you guys when you get to MEAC play?
I think we've shown a sense of resilience. I think that we've played with a little bit more of a sense of urgency this year. And then, it goes back to that thermostat mentality. We've kind of, set it on 70 and let it ride. Not too high, not too low. But, just the growth with these guys has been tremendous. And, I can't say enough about how good of a group we have here.
And then I want to talk a little bit, honestly, about you. I've seen your confidence and kind of grow a little bit as a coach. I feel like the game is starting to slow down for you as a coach. How have you seen yourself grow since last season until now? Because I feel like, obviously the reason the team is having success, it starts with you. So talk about how you've grown as a coach and as a person.
Well, I can't say it enough. I'm just a piece of it. But I think, you have to be patient and with the process. And I was talking to the guys Friday night at our team meeting about, in 19, that was a frustrating season for a lot of folks in the program, and especially myself. For us to go 4-8, that wasn't what I was accustomed to. And that didn't sit well with me. But I guess when you kind of get your feet underneath you a little bit and you get the right people in the program, whether it be support staff, coaches, or whatever the case may be, the right guys, on the bus, it makes life a lot easier for you, but we never wavered. We just, stuck with the process and kept our head down and kept working. But we'll talk later about that question, man.
And then just a couple of injury updates real quick. What's going on with B-Cod? Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Will he be
got
good
banged
will
up?
he be, will he
nothing
be
serious, little finger injury, but the doctors wanted to hold him out.
Gotcha. Will he be good to go this week?
Day by day.
Gotcha. And then last question, going to your O-line. I know you had a couple of injuries this past game, but your O-line has come a long way. Just how proud are you to see them, making huge strides after, arguably, being a weak spot last year, that they've grown a lot. Can you kind of talk about that group?
Yeah, and I apologize about the B-Cod question, man. There's just HIPAA laws out here nowadays, and I don't know. I'm trying not to get sued.
I got you.
But the O-line, like I said last week, 2 weeks ago, it's the same group of guys. It's just they're healthier. We're still a little banged up, but when you can have some consistency and those 5 guys are playing together week in and week out, and it's the chemistry there, and you have that continuity. So they trust each other. They trust the calls that each other are making. And I think just being consistent, you have the same guys that practice day in, day out. They just gelled. But I knew we had a talented offensive line. Just the guys were sitting on the sideline with me.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Our next question is from JB Ricks. Go ahead, JB.
Coach Oliver, always a pleasure. Thank you for taking out this time this week.
Thank you, JB.
Yes, sir. I got 2 questions for you. First, I want to go back to you saying that there was a point in the game against Lynchburg where you had 5 freshmen on the offensive line at once. What does that say about the growth that you brought to this program when it comes to your depth with this roster?
It's all about recruiting. I don't care how good of a coach you are. If you don't have the young men out there that can execute and play well, you're going to struggle. So my staff has done an outstanding job of bringing great young talent in. I was looking at Campbell's roster. I think they have like 27 transfers, and we don't have that. We have very, very few. But I think our staff has done an outstanding job of identifying good talent, not just talent, but good character young men. And we got a pretty good offensive line now, but give us about 2 more years when these young pups grow up.
All right. And my second question is, do you have any relationship with Campbell's head coach, Mike Minter, at all? Do you guys go back or whatever for maybe playing days or anything like that? And the second part of that question is, how exciting is it to kind of like have this be your last non-conference game, and it's going up against a team that's kind of like right down the road, two local teams here that can be considered neighborhood rivals?
Right. I do not know Coach Minter personally. We have had a couple conversations on the phone. I wish our playing days, cross paths, because he played for the Panthers. So, but no, we don't have a truly personal relationship. I followed him over the years. I know he was a great player. He's a good coach. They had a #1 FCS recruiting class in the country. But I'm excited about playing them. They are a tough football team, and I think it'll be a good test for us. I wasn't really high on playing Virginia Lynchburg last week, but we had a schedule conflict when FAM and Bethune-Cookman left the conference. So last minute, we had to try to add 2 teams. But this is going to be a great game. We're about an hour, I guess, from these people, and they have a good football program, and it'll be a great test for us.
Appreciate you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, our next question's from Trayvon Miles. Go ahead, Trayvon.
Thanks, Kyle. Hey, Coach, Davis with another big game. We expected him to have a big year, but he just almost like every single week we're seeing him do amazing things. Is there anything that he's doing that's surprising you, and how do you describe his impact for your team and what he's doing so far?
Well, Davies has to take care of the football. We turned the ball over too many times this past weekend, which was a concern. But he's improved tremendously, and the game has started to slow down for him because I think it's the preparation that goes into it. He has a good feel about what the defense is going to give us, and he's patient. But it starts up front. When you can run the football the way we've been running the football, and people have to stack the box, load the box with extra defenders. When they get that extra number in the box, that's when we can take advantage with people's secondary. Because I think we have an extremely talented receiving core, and when folks want to play man-to-man against us, we've had opportunity to make them pay. But it starts up front with the O-line. As they go, when our run game goes, so does Pee Wee.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, we talked a lot about offense. Haven't talked a lot about the defense. Can you talk about their play so far? They forced some turnovers this weekend and have been really doing a good job on that run defense.
Yeah, I believe we held them to 50-some yards rushing. Coach Core wasn't pleased with it. It's not about them, it's about us, and our run fits weren't where they needed to be. But I thought that we improved, and we had a couple of guys out on the interior defensive line. They'll be back this week. But I think in the back end, we had a couple of penalties that kept drives alive, a couple of pass interference penalties. So we need to get those things cleaned up. But it was exciting to see Khalil Baker. He got another interception. So, he's 4 for 4 now. And he's been playing well. Marvin Reed got an interception and then fumbled it. But, we did turn some folks over. This is the first game I've seen 2 defensive linemen get interceptions in the same game. So I think we had one and they had one. But the defense is playing well and they've improved. We still need to continue to I think, be a little bit more consistent. And didn't like those scores we gave up down there in the red zone. But we're getting better.
So you had, as you mentioned, you had 2 defensive players after interceptions. They fumbled. You're going to do some ball security drills with the defensive backs and defensive linemen this week?
Yeah, we're going to have to. The way we've been catching them, man, we're going to have to. And we preached it. And, as a matter of fact, I just talked to Marvin Reed on Thursday about it at practice, ball security. But, you talk about things, but you got to do a little bit more than talking about it. So I guess that would be something that we have to try to work on in pre-practice.
And we've got another question from Shami Cook. Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, you just forgot about one play. Your team had 3 interceptions. Colby Warrior had an interception also in the game. How did this, moment, give momentum to your offense, who, what didn't play the way that we're used to, in the passing game? You said that Davies had 2 interceptions. How did that give momentum, the leverage to the offense?
Definitely. And whenever you can turn people over and we can shorten the field, it's a lot easier to go 40 yards and score as opposed to, having to drive the length of the field. So we preach all the time about, takeaways, turning the ball over, just as much as we do about ball security and taking care of the football on offense. But, the offense does feed off the defense and the energy and vice versa. So it's good to see, defense make a play, the offense cheering them on and go out there and put some points on the board.
And Coach, coming right behind you is going to be one of our redshirt senior offensive linemen, Robert Mitchell. If you could just talk about Robert and what he's meant to the program.
Yes, Rob has grown tremendously, improved tremendously. He's the leader of the offensive line, and he got the game ball, player of the game, offensive player of the game this past week. Very rarely do the big guys get player of the games. It's always a quarterback or one of those skill guys. But his leadership has grown tremendously, and for him to put those guys, the big guys up front on his back, and we challenged them, and it said, guys, as you all go, we go. And I think that they've taken to that and have played well thus far. But Rob and the boys going to have to play really well this weekend.
All right, great. Those are all the questions there. So, Coach, thank you very much. And we'll pause a moment while Robert comes up to the podium. But good luck this week, Coach. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good week.
Again, stay with us, please. Coming up next is